Hello, in the last lesson we learned about inheritance and we created a skeleton zombie monster, but what if I wanted to, for example, attack as a skeleton or zombie a bit different way? What then? Well, you should somehow invoke the attack method from here in order to, do the script that normally is done. And in the same time, it would be great if I could, for example, create something for my own usage, right? Because here is a type of attack, something different, right? So how to do it? Well, you are just going to type the same things that are here. So you can just copy it and paste it here. Not the body, but the same signature, okay? And now when you copy the same signature here, as you can see, here is an hint. Hey, add override annotation. When you use it, you are adding something like that. This is an annotation, and when you click on it, you're gonna jump to the overridden method, okay? So it is like, from now, I am attack method from skeleton class. When you do something like skeleton attack, you will notice that here is I am attack from skeleton class. We invoked only this method using the skeleton, okay? If you want to invoke things that were here, if there were many instructions that are important for you, then you're gonna type something like super that and then invoke, for example, attack, right? Because you are invoking now the method from here. And as you can see, now we are invoking both. Not first from the monster class and then from the skeleton class. So that's how overriding looks like. If you, for example, pass here something new, so for example the type of attack, so string type of attack, this is no more an overriding, okay? As you can see, it says remove this annotation because this is overloading of method. Because right now it's like, hey, you have got this method copied here because of inheritance, and this method is overloaded by this method, okay? Because they have got different parameters. And when you execute the one without arguments sent here, you will notice that we are invoking the one from the monster class. If you send here an argument, right, it's of course gonna invoke the one with the argument. But it's very important to understand the difference, okay? So this is called overriding. But what is a polymorphism? Okay, let's delete all these things from here. Let's create a monster like that. And let's create a zombie. And let's create a skeleton. How many names do you see here? Many, right? Poly from Greek means many. Morphism means form. Right now, you can do something like that. With the single form, you can take many other forms. Okay? It's gonna work. You can easily assign to the parent child. You can't assign child to the child parent, but you can assign to the parent a child object, right? You can point, refer to something like that. And that's very useful. You might be like, but why? Because you can create the method, whatever, and then you can create monster, bam, 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 And now you can send to this method, right? You can later do something like this. Oh, maybe not. We will need to create instance of inheritance, but you could send here. Oh, you can also make it static. When you make it static, we'll be able to do it. So we can access now inheritance and do something like whatever and send there, for example, new skeleton, right? You can send it here, pretty easy now. You can send there zombie, you can send there the spider, you can send there the wolf, you can send there whatever you want, and you can have only one method for all of these things. That's the great thing. Then you can check what is that what is that class, and you can do whatever you want on that thing. And that's the cool thing about also polymorphism, right? Because one single thing you can access many. And also polymorphism is looking a bit different when you want to invoke a method. Because look, right now we created something like that. But what will happen if we do, for example, something like that? When we do something like that, what will happen when we do attack? You will notice that it's very important. When you are reserving the memory, you are invoking the constructor from what? From the derived class, then from the base class, right? And that's why you can assign really the monster here, because hey, here is also a monster. Here is monster and skeleton, but they are both here. That's why you can assign it here. But when you do that attack, as you can see, it's invoking both methods also, but it's only because we did something like that. When I do it like that, you will notice that we have got access only to this method. We cannot now from here access somehow the method from monster, okay? You can only access the one from the skeleton. At least for now. It's also very important that you have got access to it only because we created a method like that in here and here. If you had another method, for example, here void test, you will notice that when I do something like that, you can access test and bam. As you can see, it's gonna be invoked. What will happen if I totally delete it from the monster and create a new method here? As you can see, it's not working anymore. That's a good thing to know, right? So it's really very funny because when you do something like that, you have got really access to only things from monster, okay, class. But because here you assigned the reference to the skeleton, when you look at skeleton, you override, because you overridden this method, using this object, you could somehow invoke this attack method. And this is called also polymorphism, okay? Well, polymorphism means that it's like an ability of an object to take on many forms. Ability of something to do many things, okay? Because poly means many and morphism means the form, right? If you do not understand what is polymorphism, it doesn't matter, right? You don't need to know what is polymorphism exactly because you are just gonna program. You just need to know how to use it. And the most important for you to know is that when you are sending here something, right? You can send pretty easy the skeleton here, bam, and you can access it using something like that. You can change this behavior if you want to, for example, if you wanted, for example, somehow access this test here, you could change this behavior by doing something what is called downcasting. You could do something like that. Test. Sorry, not test. We could take the M, and now we could, hey, let's downcast it down, right? Let's cast it down to the skeleton. And now, as you can see, when we do something like that, I can access test. It's because right now I am saying that this is, a skeleton. It's really a skeleton. That's how you can access things from skeleton. And we are saying that we know what we are doing, right? If there is nothing here, like that, you can only access, as you can see, the methods that are, or properties that are in the monster class, but not the properties on other things that are in derived class, unless they are overridden, right? That's the difference, because they are also in the monster class, and somehow there is a magic behind a polymorphism that allows you to use the attack method, for example, here. Okay, that's all in the lesson. Thank you very much.